Or if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout, and I still have Paul Dadavra here with me, and Kaidila Dendi. So nice to have you here. All right, let's move straight to our next conversation. In the absence of prudence and accountability, mistrust will be the order of the day. The monthly meeting of the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAAC, could not hold due to a dispute between states and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, over outstanding remittances. State governors decided to boycott the meeting until NNPCL remits revenues amounting to about 1.7 trillion naira from November 2024, when petrol subsidy was fully removed. It is not clear if the meeting will still hold this week. Paul, the story about states and NNPCs on remitted funds is not new.
Yeah.
Is not new. But states now boycotting FAAC meeting, are they right to boycott such meetings at this time?
Well, for me, it's neither here nor there. States need their money.
Sure.
NNPC says, look, we don't have money. I mean, we have other commitments have taken away the money. The president is not even looking in the direction of the NNPC.
Yeah, because during the media chat, he said that we are not even...
The president is not looking in the direction of the NNPC. I think, see, we must commend. Tinubu is a very sagacious fund manager, and he's being very much criticized.
He's an accountant.
He's still very much criticized, and of course, it's expected. Everybody becomes less popular when they get into power. That's the truth. That's the fact. From Obasanjo to Yara, even Yaradua that they had a short-lived administration tenure. Jonathan and Buhari are now the president. That said, for me, when I saw this story, I said, okay, governors, you are not happy, you want more funding. But I'm not asking, what have you done with what you already have? Now, we know that there are states that are very, very, they are different. There are some governors that are outstanding. And we know them. We can mention names. Personally, I have praised Zulum on this program many times, Governor Zulum. We've even praised the Ekiti governor. Ekiti is not a high income, it doesn't have much revenue. But Ekiti is doing better than some states that we know. So, why you are crying for your allocation, that you are crying for more funds, what have you done? Have governors generally justified the increased allocation? You can't blame government, because everybody knows that FG has released I mean, there's increased allocation to the states. Everybody knows. That one is not even a secret. Everybody knows that, except those who decide to play deaf and blind and deaf. Okay? But we know that. And we see some governors doing things. I mentioned Ekiti. Even Lagos State governor is trying. So we see governors also, paying the minimum wage. Okay? Why maybe some are still struggling with that. So the thing is, what are you doing with it? However, if that fund is meant for governors, the NNPC and the governors still have to come together and sit. The NNPC has to give a satisfactory explanation to the governors why the fund is not coming. When will the fund come? How will the fund come? It's something they have to resolve among themselves. But for me, it's not about money here, money there, money here, money there. It's about the citizens feeling the impact at every level. Citizens must feel the impact of government at every level. We just talk about security. We know that one of the chief responsibilities of any government is to secure the lives of the citizens before we talk about anything else. So how secure? What are the innovations that the governors are bringing to the table? For example, in Lagos, I know that Lagos State governors, through the years, have always tried to fund the police. Lagos State has what they call Lagos State Security Trust Fund. Bringing in a lot of stakeholders using the initiative. It started with Fashola, and it's continued. So these are some of the initiatives that you can do, you know, with funds. You know, take initiative with funds, you know, using the funds to sponsor some initiatives and to make life
in
better
other words,
for the people.
You don't agree with the governors boycotting the FAAC meeting because of what?
No,
because of the stand of NNPC.
They boycotted the meeting. They will still come back to a round table. That one is inevitable. They boycotted,
but they're saying that they will not come back until NNPC, you know,
they will find they have to find a way of resolving.
Do you agree with him in this regard? Before we move straight to the next area of the conversation.
I think basically I'm just looking for, I was waiting for the fact that shouldn't they ask for the money, and he hit that point, you know. So having mentioned that there are more germane issues they should concentrate on, but you know, this thing is practical. You know, we are not governors.
Sure.
And some of us have never been in political office before.
You never can tell what will happen tomorrow.
No, I'm just trying to say that I try to picture myself in people's position before I can criticize them or commend them. You know, for example, this is very, very practical now. Most times when I'm broke, when there's no money in my pocket, I try to remember who is owing me. I just remember that go and check your statement of account.
Exactly.
See the one that you released that has not been returned. See the one that I've returned. And so I do that kind of auditing and push for it. So that's what these governors are doing, irrespective of whatever has happened. It is called unremitted. Remitted. So what is important is transparency. NNPC needs to come out. A lot of people have been saying stuff about NNPC being audited, being
We're still
open.
going to get to that part.
So technically,
but Kaidi, let me come in here. In the past, the NNPC had a built-in excuse that, hey, we can't remit funds because we are using this money to pay subsidies. Now, subsidies have been totally removed since November last year.
I was going there.
No, my question is, what is the excuse for the unremitted funds? And also, is there something we don't know that we really need to know?
Good. So, the president has taken an exemplary step. I recall in that media chat when he said, I have not borrowed a dime from NNPC. I have not run to NNPC for help. In other words, he's not hiding the fact that a lot has come into the revenue and the debt servicing has drastically reduced. In other words, let no one deceive you. There is more money than we have made. You understand? So probably NNPC is also expecting governors to toe that line. Leave us alone. Now you have a better federal allocation. You have higher money that is coming into your account. Why don't you let bygone be bygone?
Well, we can't leave them alone.
I agree. I'm going somewhere. So basically, what we're looking at is, that's the argument NNPC might be looking at to say that we have other commitment, we have other issues to attend to. Yours is not as cogent, as a priority than these others. But like I said, irrespective, you need to complain. You need to be transparent. You need to tell us what exactly are you using this money for. If it is justifiable, you know, when somebody is owing you money and the person tells you that, hey, my child is about to die, I need to quickly fix that in the hospital. I'm just giving you an example. You will see reasons with that person, but you need to tell me, when are you paying back my money?
Well, why is there so much controversy when it comes to transparency
with the NNPC, right?
Why is it so shrouded in, you know, like who? How,
I'm on national TV. I was going to say that.
You know, I saw a report. That the report, I think the headline was, is NNPC now moving from opaqueness to transparency? No, NNPC is notorious for opaqueness. That I mean, there's no debate about that. I mean, people have always criticized the NNPC for that. But in this case, like Kaude said, look, you are saying you have commitments. Okay, we've heard you, right? They mentioned, what's it called, crude swap. Okay, they mentioned that that's part of their commitments. See, you cannot run, NNPC is not a cult, okay? NNPC owes the governors. Because they will tell you that's
a presidential directive.
Yes, the NNPC owes the governors a satisfactory explanation.
Absolutely.
That is the truth. See, this NNPC cannot just say, okay, we spend this money on this, or we have this responsibility, so governors, we can't give you. Apparently, the governors aren't satisfied. Apparently, the governors have not been convinced. You know.
So why sit down with you?
So why sit down? So why the governors, you can talk about some governors not performing, but the truth is your money is your money. The money belongs to them. And if they have the money, we can now ask governors, now this money you also got, just as we are asking them now that with the increased allocation,
show working.
Now, if they get this also, we'll ask, what have you used it for? The same way we're asking the previous administration, the money you got from Abacha loots, all of those things. We ask questions, but then you must explain. Now, if the governors now say, okay, we can give you some time based on your explanation, not just governors, even Nigerians. Because
but the governors in quotes now, we're talking about plugging that money to handle capital projects in different states.
Exactly.
So it's not really their money. So they should know that.
So Nigerians must also know why the NNPC has not released that money. The Nigerians must be satisfied, you know, with the NNPC, the reasons given by the NNPC. And then when the governors, if they get the money, we also must be satisfied. We want to see how they spend the money.
Exactly.
It's just as simple as that.
Transparency. Now, the controversy about the true state of the NNPC's balance sheet, the state of the NNPC balance sheet is key here. You're talking about transparency. Now, is it safe to call for an external forensic audit of the NNPC to know the true state of things? Because we can't just continue this way. 1.7 trillion naira is no joke.
In corporate governance, we expect some kind of internal auditing first.
Yeah.
They say they do their own auditing.
We have not seen.
They say they do their own auditing.
See, we need to see, number one, external auditors will definitely also have some kind of business with the internal auditing paper. Let them check whether this is thoroughly done. Because if they are going to relate with them directly and do everything from A to Z, there will be some abracadabra. You understand? So I'm just saying that his words were very strong. Anyway, that's not my word, that they are notorious for opaqueness.
Okay, all right, gentlemen, just hold that thought. We have a phone call right now. Alfred calling from Makurdi. Alfred, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh.
Okay, all right then. Alfred, if you can just link us with us again, okay, we'd like to hear your thoughts. But
so, as I was saying, let us have these books. Maybe NNPC will now tell us that they are now privatized. But prior to being privatized, at least Nigerians have shares, if not the major shares. You understand? So we deserve to have it. I'm not sure whether they are also quoted, but even if they are not quoted, we need to see the papers. Let us know. The figures may be humongous, may be scary, but some of us are ready to calculate. We are ready to look at what has happened so year before this year. I think it's time for us to have this. And I'm expecting, I have a feeling that will happen very soon.
You think the president might take this as...
it's just my feeling.
It's just a feeling.
There is something I just want to say. See, in the end, everybody has to understand that this is all about Nigerians.
Okay.
It's all about Nigeria. It's all about the welfare of Nigerians. It's all about the growth of the economy. So when we are thinking Nigerians first, I mean, if all the players, governors, NNPC, whoever, is thinking about Nigerians first, I think that thought, I mean, they're sincerely thinking, genuinely thinking about Nigerians, I think it will guide all they do.
Now, let's, on a final note, before we move straight to making NNPC profitable again, what kind of strategy should the government or should be put in place, or should the NNPC maybe put in place and the government also put in place to make them adequately sustainable and profitable? Because last year, August, they said they declared, I think maybe 3.3 trillion naira as profit. And so yeah, it came in as profit, but at the end of the day, they said they used it for something else.
Exactly. The point I was going to ask you is, why are you interested in how much they make? One. Number two.
Okay, we have a caller now. Timothy from Boko. Timothy, so nice to have you join us. Hello, Timothy. Thank you so much for joining us. Timothy, let's talk. Good evening to you. Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. You're live. We apologize.
I guess you want to talk about the Benue.
Exactly.
Boko.
Exactly.
So my point is, I don't know why. What I'm trying to say is that the president has said, see, whatever they've had, I am looking elsewhere. It's a privatized company now. They should be making profit. But what we are concerned about is they should get ready for more competition. Dangote is already giving them a run for their money.
Yeah, a lot.
They should work on more refineries. They should do all stuff that will benefit Nigeria, basically. So Naira and Kobo, I'm not so much interested in whatever they make, whether they are making profits, or definitely they should be making profit now because subsidy has been removed. Because they've been screaming and saying that the burden is too much, they've been paying subsidy, they've been doing this. Now it's taken off from them. I know that there's still some kind of controversy that subsidy is still coming, but then I'm not interested in that. What is more important is that what NNPC is making now is better, and the expenses is far less than whatever
what it was
they were
before,
doing when subsidy
from
was there.
November to this time.
I'm not sure the NNPC has an excuse not to be profitable.
Really?
First, privatized. It's privatized. I mean, one of the reasons...
Do you have issues with the corporate governance of the NNPC?
No, of course I've always had issues with the corporate governance of NNPC. If I want to talk about that one, I probably will not end today. But you see, what I'm saying actually is that the NNPC was privatized so that that sector will become more virile. That's one. Subsidy has been removed, like he said. I mean, the federal government is not, the president is not looking in the direction of the NNPC. So NNPC is not starved of funds, I like to believe. You can't, the NNPC cannot say, oh, all the money we are making now, much of it is going into subsidy, government is collecting, you know that. So all some of those excuses that the NNPC can give
built-in excuse
no longer
anymore.
exist. You understand? Though you can say it's privatized, but it's running Nigerian assets.
Exactly.
So Nigerians are interested.
All right, we have another caller, Ekene from Abuja. Ekene, so nice to have you join us. Ekene, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Yeah, I just called to contribute from what you're saying.
Okay, let's talk.
There are lots of issues about the NNPC and unrelated from front and back and all those.
Okay.
If you recall during the good luck of the previous administration, even when the former CBN governor mentioned that about 25 billion was not remitted and all those things. So they have lots of issues with this NNPC. And that's them during the former, what's the current, the emir, that's Sanusi pointed out that some particular billion was not remitted. And these are issues going forth and back. I think I want to suggest that NNPC should get an auditor, an independent auditor.
An independent auditor, okay?
Because sometimes when you drive around Abuja,
All right then. All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Well, still talking about the NNPC, you know, he talked about maybe they should have maybe an external auditor, okay? The external auditor that we talked about. But anyway, let's move straight to our next conversation. The Yoruba people